Here we are at the next screen, Creditable Service. We've just left retirement eligibility, and here we just need to enter the hours saved per pay period, typically 4, but sometimes it's as low as 1. And then enter hours saved to date. Once you hit enter, you'll get the return on that data. And as you can see, accumulating sick leave can really add up and benefit your retirement. The next section will ask you if there have been any breaks in service and if you need to recalculate a service computation date. If you do, enter the civilian service. You can name that anything, the department where they worked, or period 1, period 2, for example. You'll enter the start date, which is typically the service computation date, the end of the first period of work. On the next row, you'll enter the next period of service, accounting for the break in time, the date you went back to work, and the end date. If there are multiple breaks, enter those, and at the very last entry, it must be today's date. Whatever date you're entering this information, that's the date you'll use. You can simply tab through this field and the current day will be populated for you. Now, once you've entered these breaks in service, you can see in the summary section that there is now a recalculated service computation date. If you would like to change that date on the retirement eligibility form, you can click the Save SCD Date button and you'll be taken back to the retirement eligibility form where you can see that the service computation date has been updated to that new date. In this example, we're going to stick with the original service computation date, so I'm going to change that back. Now for the next part of this form, we're going to take a look at military service. So I'm going to clear this information out. In order to recalculate a service computation date in the military service section, this form requires dates to be entered in the breaks in service section. So if you're using the software to recalculate a service computation date due to a military buyback, you'll need to say yes to breaks in service and yes to recalculating a service computation date. That start date will be your original service computation date, and the end date will be the current day that you are running this report. You can either manually enter that date, or you can click Tab, and the current date will populate in that field automatically. Now you'll say yes to military service, and yes to buying back the time. This field is optional. You can enter the branch of military service, or you can leave it blank. You'll enter your start date and your end date of your military service. And in the summary section, you'll see a recalculated service computation date. If you'd like to use that recalculated date, click Save SCD Date, and you'll be taken to the retirement eligibility form where you'll see the new recalculated service computation date. Again, in this example, we're going to use our original service computation date. If you do not select service computation date, the information in this summary section is informational only, and it will not be used in your annuity computations. Once you've entered all the required data on this form, you'll click Next. Not only will your data be saved, but you'll be taken to the next applicable form.